Hello, everyone. My name is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. Yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share the video, let everybody know we're here. And without further ado, and of course, I had another channel open, so there it is. But without further ado, let me bring on my co-host for the night, Mr. DM Ray.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me on, man. Always a good time to be on.
Yep. All right, cool. And let's bring on the guests, Mr. Larry. Long time no see, bro.
It's a Canuck from beyond the walls of ice.
There you go. So, Larry, please introduce yourself.
Oh yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah, I'm doing 5 things at once. My bad. Again, I was telling JD off screen that I was live and that I slipped up on my scheduling the whole 9. So I'm now playing catch up with everything. I'm LP. I am the writer and creator of the comic books Niobe and fantasy series Savage Sin. We're currently running a Kickstarter. We're here to talk about that and all sorts of other things. So hope you enjoy the show.
All right, cool. And the man of the hour, or the next 2 hours, Mr. Sam. Sam,
hey, everybody.
Introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, hi, I'm Sam Quinton, WS Quinton. I am the founder, owner, operator of Sinopa Publishing right here in Frankfort, Kentucky. We create comic books and role-playing games, and we're probably, as far as for comics go, we're probably most well known for titles like 47 Furious Tales, Reign of Ages, Necroholic, and of course that timeless classic, Tibby and her time-traveling psychedelic mushrooms, which you've seen for a very brief time on your local comic book shop shelves before it's sold out. So thanks to all of you who picked up a copy back in 2025. You guys really rock.
All right, cool.
We have Midwest Comic Man in the chat, by the way. He's old school, like golden age collector. He's one of my personal friends in the YouTube community because he was watching me live, right? He's like, where did you go? And I'm like, I'm here, brother. I'm over here now.
Yeah. All right, cool. So, gentlemen, look, let's start it off like a normal ass show. So, what's going on? That's the title of the show. So, what's going on? Let's start with Larry. What's going on, man?
Well, you know, as I said during the intro, we got a Kickstarter going on. We're trying to finish the Outbreak storyline. It's been 3 years. We've been doing a 5-part issue miniseries. I don't recommend you guys doing that. Right? It's a big endeavor, big challenge to get these books out. And if something goes wrong, then you're stuck halfway through a story, you know? And that's sort of where we're at right now. Like, we are desperately, and I don't mind saying the word, we are desperate to get this funded, because if I don't, it's going to be a long break before we see Niobe again, you know, and Sam knows all about this. So I've had lots of private chats about the ups and downs of the last year and where I'm at with this book. I put the last remaining money I had into making a few pages and some covers, and we got to swing for the fences, man. If we fund, and I don't take anything for granted. I mean, we're on a good start. We're $7,000 out of our $9,000 goal, and we're 5 days in, right? Mm-hmm. If we fund, plus I can put it in the late pledges for another month, and we can accumulate some more. But we have to get it to the $9,000, right? Then the doors will open up. Then the algorithm pushes it a little harder. Oh, it's funded. Yeah. You know, the whole 9, right? Provided that we get it funded, then we can make a trade paperback and put all 5 issues together and sell it, you know, again, on the shelf and on Kickstarter. Speaking of the shelf, our deal with Antarctic Press is back, right? But that's on a caveat of that we get Outbreak 5 finished. Then they'll print 4 and 5 and put those on the shelf. So I got a lot riding on this Kickstarter, gentlemen. How you doing? What's up?
All right, cool. Yeah, I think we're all there. You know, we're all of us are on some level of, you know, dealing with stuff. But, you know, but before we get into that, Sam, what's up with you, man?
Well, let's stay positive and let's stay on point. Guys, we've got a lot of stuff coming this year. We are releasing our debut magazine, the first magazine we've ever put out, Art by Humans, celebrating the human artists over the proliferation of artificial intelligence-generated imagery. We are featuring artists that have been working with Sinopa, some of them as long as 9 years, because we are rapidly approaching our 10-year mark in business, if you can believe that. We are trying to court one Ben Dunn to also do a bonus article because we have a couple of pages available. So I'm going to be sending him some information. If he doesn't, then I've got a Kubert School instructor I've reached out to as well as a fallback. But we are also going to be bringing our comics back in a big way this year after taking a year off for tragedy reasons. We are going to be launching after that either Reign of Ages issue 4 or Necroholic issue 4, depending on who gets it done first, and then the other one after that. And then we will also be bringing 47 Furious Tales issue 4, Tibby and Her Time Traveling Psychedelic Mushrooms issue 2, Sinopa Omnibus, one of our role-playing game titles, which will be the third in that series, and then the fourth episode in our Tarot Adventures D&D module as well. And then going to be talking with a couple of other people who want me to put some other D&D stuff together. So a lot of stuff to do as we continue to work on our own RPG, which is becoming bigger and bigger as it goes. But other big thing coming up in March, we are at the Lexington Comic and Toy Festival in Lexington, Kentucky. 4 days of comics, role-playing games, pop culture stuff, and one of the most stacked celebrity lists I've seen since I was at New York Comic Con in 2023. It is ridiculous, some of the guys that they got for this one. So if you are in the Ohio River Valley, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, the Virginias, anywhere around there, guys, it is very worth the while. You're going to find something there you're going to love. It's a fantastic show.
Well, funny you would ask that, Paul. A couple of ways. A, Sam does a lot of Kickstarters just like I do, but B, you're a man that likes to go to his comic book shop, Paul. So here's a suggestion that you can do outside of contacting Sam directly for a copy. So I don't even know if you have any copies, Sam. Do you?
Tibby, yeah, I've got a little bit left from the Kickstarter because we printed 5,450 copies of Tibby from that Kickstarter. We printed 5,000 with the regular trade dress, 400 Virgin variants. I think I have about 40 of those left. And we had printed 50 holochromes. Those completely sold out.
Perfect.
As far as the regular, I think we've got like 600 or 700 left.
Well, the other option too, Paul, and I would suggest contacting the creator first. That way they get the most amount of money, right? When you're buying books like this. But Sam was also published through Antarctic Press, which means that your comic book shop might have that book somewhere in a back issue bin, something like that. So it's always worth a look to go check it out.
Yeah, and with that Antarctic release, definitely if you see it, snatch it up because the eBay prices on that thing have been ridiculous.
Is that right? I have to go look.
Yeah, it's been. I put it this way. I don't have a copy because I didn't want to spend the money it was priced at on eBay.
No. Well,
my price range.
That's a discussion for another day, but you should have some comp copies. We'll
yeah, you should have 1 or 2 for yourself.
Well, the thing is that the entire press run sold out, so there weren't any comp copies available. But
that needs to go to second printing.
Well, I'm going to talk to Ben about that because of the second issue too. So we'll see how that pans out. Now, Midwest Scotsman 2, we're going to have a link later in the show to the Drive-Thru Comics, Drive-Thru RPG page for my company, Sinopa Publishing. You can get anything digitally there. And if you prefer a physical copy, I'm sure we'll make sure that you have a contact method for me so we can get something together. And everything I ships pretty sharp. I'm sure JD and Larry can vouch for that.
And so, well, I can vouch for that, and I can vouch for the book, having both copies, the Kickstarter edition and the AP edition. So it's a fun read, Paul. Like it's a fun, quick read. Beautiful colors in it, beautiful art. It's a job well done. It really is.
Thank you.
Yep. Great. So what's up?
Well, mine is a little bit more focused. I'm just dealing with one comic right now. I'm trying to get a good following for the issue 3, the final to my miniseries of the Madcaps. Right now, I just hit 116, which hits my all-time best. I'm very excited about that. We're not launching till April. So right now, I'm just showing off covers and coming on to podcasts and talking comics as we like to do here. So just one. That's right. Just one, technically just 3. Regardless, I'm getting a lot of support. This is my first time on the creative side for comic books, and it's staggering the amount of encouragement, everything that has come behind it, all the talent, all the people that have had me on podcasts, just like JD here. It's a really good time. So that's pretty much what's up for me. Not as over the top and overly detailed. I'm not stirring many pots here. I'm just happy with what I'm currently doing. It's not my day job. I'm just happy to pick at it as I can.
All right, cool. For myself, it's just the constant hamster wheel of Kickstarters. So I got Dreamweavers currently running. I just fulfilled Oswald last week. Those are shipping out this week, Tuesday. I will probably be launching again tomorrow for Oswald. I will be doing for the first time, I'm going to be representing another artist, Rod Espinoza. We're bringing his Adventure Finders to the U.S. because he's in the Philippines. He was done in comics form, but we're doing a compilation. So we're doing a hardcover and a trade paperback. So it's going to be like the first 5 issues, about 240 pages.
Wow.
So we're going to put that out. But that's going to be a little bit later on in the year. Currently doing trading card set with Tom Hutchison, JD Rosario, Marvin Wynn, and Rob Moltari. So if you back each of our campaigns, you get one of those cards, as they're all the first stretch goal, and then they form an image on the back of the card. So you put them all together, and they form one 9-card image. So that should be pretty cool. And all the artwork is unique to those cards. Like we're not doing what I normally do. Is I like to reuse my covers as cards, but for this, that's a brand new unique image. They forced me into that one.
Well, the cards is a great idea because cards have never been so popular. One of the things that we're doing on my side of the river, your idea is a great idea, like crossover cards that forms a bit bigger image. That's cool. What we're doing is original sketch art, right? So Locke, one of our artists, has been drawing these little Niobe cards and encasing them in plastic like they're CGC slabs.
Yeah.
And so they're one of one original art. So you kill 2 birds with one stone, right? Because people love cards and they love having one of something unique. And on top of that, original art really has sort of become the new collectible. Not even the new collectible, just sort of like it's getting far more noticed because of the incursion of AI. Human art is increasingly becoming more and more rare, and people are starting to pick up these original art pieces because they are truly unique and one of a kind.
Yeah. That's been a big thing too, because I've been pulling original art pages and original covers off my wall again to get ready for coming campaigns. So we've got cover art by tremendous people like Alexia Veldhausen and Damian Torres and a few others, just absolutely gorgeous pieces. So let's get you really happy homes and make sure that we get cool stuff made by humans for humans,
This is it. You got Jason Doobie in the chat. He's got the best last name in comics ever, right? Doobie. You know what I mean? And of course, he runs a great show on Friday nights where he live streams him drawing various characters from different comics of the indie scene.
Yeah. All right, Jason's awesome. He's been on the show a bunch of times. Hasn't been on for a while, so got to get him back. Right, Jason?
Yeah.
So Larry, you said you were watching Ben's show.
Yeah.
Just a little while ago. I got to catch a couple snippets, but I'll eventually catch the whole thing later on. What caught your interest? Because you said you were jumping. You were like,
I just think there's a lot of old-fashioned mentality that's happening, and a lot of excuses to why the business isn't growing, with a lot of answers that no one's implementing.
Okay.
Right. So the common thing is manga's kicking our ass. Okay, then what can we do that's going to bring us like manga? And everything I suggested got shot down with a machine gun, right? And the answer I had gotten was because we don't have the resources. Well, if that's the only thing stopping us, right? The money, and I'm talking like small publisher here, okay?
Right.
Not necessarily Antarctic, but any small publisher. Then it may be time for you to reallocate your resources. Because if you're hitting the drum and you're only treading water and you're not making any distance, while that may keep you afloat for a while, how do you actually get the younger readers? Because quite honestly, and this is just my opinion, you guys can feel free to take out the guns and shoot me down, is that I think kids don't want floppies. I don't think they're interested in floppies. I think the floppy dies with our generation, And I think like I'm eager to put out my trade to see how well it sells as a collected unit versus single issues. And we've done a trade before and it did extremely well, but Outbreak's a bigger beast. You know what I mean? So, you know, and I'm dying someday to do, like, I actually put my money where my mouth is, and maybe one day do a Niobe manga type story where it's really cute and it's really, you know, for all ages, and it's a completely different vibe, you know, and really push that manga format, black and white. You know what I mean? Like, I'm willing to roll the dice and gamble on this at some point, because I think we need younger readers to continue the business.
And all right, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I don't think you necessarily have to go all manga to do it. Because the thing is, DC, they've released their digest size books and they're kicking
right.
out.
But there's the key, right? Because we're not necessarily talking what you're producing, we're talking format.
Right.
Okay, floppy format. Remember, my key word in that whole thing I said is floppies will die, right? With our generation, not necessarily comics. Comics could survive in that DC digest format. And the reason why they are doing so well, and the reason why I do hear good things about them, is because younger people are picking them up because of the format itself.
Right. I mean, but my point is, it's not so much, I mean, the format, but that's actually an easy transition, right? To rescale pages and just print them at a different size. That's all it is. I did it. Daphne and I had done it with Tall Tales, and we did that. We did digest size. So they're like 8.5 by 5.5 inch books. They sold great. You understand? We went back to standard comic size going on Kickstarter, but this was pre-Kickstarter, right? We were doing digest size books. They were easier to produce. They were easier to carry around the shows, and they sold fantastic. And at the time, we were getting them at a very reasonable price, so we could sell them at $10 a book, and they would just fly off the table. And we have 4 volumes, you know, of them. So they were just like.
So that's just one thing. The other thing they had brought up was the price of digital comics, right? I said, how come you're not charging the same amount for your digital as you are your hard copies? And then they said, well, we feel like that wouldn't sell. And I'm like, well, I'm living proof that it does sell. I charge $10 for a $28 page book digitally on my campaign, and people are buying them. I charge $45 Canadian for the entire digital collection, and people are buying them. Out of the 144 backers we got, over 50 of them are digital backers, and they're paying the price that we're asking, right? It's like video games. If you buy a brand new video game right now, digital or hard copy, it's going to cost you the same. Right? People in this day and age, especially younger people, really don't differentiate digital from physical anymore. In fact, I know people that buy digital variants and swap them with each other on their phones. And to them, that's just as good as having the real thing.
Yeah. Look, when I do Dreamweavers, I'm selling, what is it? The standard book. I sell it for $5 as a PDF. But if you want all the covers, it's like $18. If you want all the nude variants with it, it's like $30. Right?
And I bet people buy them, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So that's, oh hell yeah. And I think I have a $50 level, whereas for issues 1 and 2, you get all the covers, right? And you know, I'm getting, I don't know, usually anywhere from 10 to 15 people buying that level.
And think about it. Every time someone buys, especially like a complete package, right? That's extra free money. Those are books you're not printing and shipping out, and money that you can actually use to produce the books that you are printing and shipping out, you know?
Right. Now listen, Midwestern Scotsman, we do have physical, so you can buy those as well. So we have those.
Yeah, we're gonna get Paul a heart attack here. We better be careful.
Yeah, we sell it as digital and physical. We do physical as well. But
I think
digital
strategy is very important.
So there was just a variety of points that were made in that broadcast. I just wanted to go on and touch upon, because I think, you know, companies who are like charging $2 a digital are throwing away money. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Oh, Larry, you could just said Sam.
I didn't even think of you, brother. You know.
So I here's the thing. I do charge less for digitals. Even on Kickstarter, like our Kickstarter digitals are rarely, I mean, usually it's $3 to $5 depending on the page count and what we're trying to raise, right? And honestly, if the audience I've cultivated was larger, we'd probably go down to 2 to 3. But the real thing that I see so many people, and Larry and I have talked about this at length, JD, you and I have talked about this at length. Tyler, all of us. Digital has done remarkable for me over the years. 47 Furious Tales, we've got 3 issues out, and the digital copies subsequent to the Kickstarter campaigns, we've sold about 13,000 digital copies in total, not counting the Kickstarters, since 2019. Then for 3 digital books, who cares if it's $1 or $2 a piece? That kind of volume adds up pretty quick, so whether it's 1 month to the next, whether my royalties off drive-through come out like 60, 80, 100, whatever, that usually pays my gas bill at home, sometimes my electric bill as well, and that little extra revenue goes an awful long way as a persistent secondary revenue source. So it definitely makes you think too when you're putting stuff out. Say, hey, we make a little bit of money here. We fund our stuff through crowdfunding. We make a lot of money. Well, for me personally, most of the money we see is raised subsequent to the Kickstarters, because we do the direct sales to the stores that carry us directly. Then we do of course, the convention sales that we do. And conventions have been very, very kind to us. And then, of course, the digital and the print-on-demand markets. Now, comics we have not released as print-on-demand, but we will be changing that strategy probably by 2028, 2029, somewhere around there, because there's a few things I want to get out before we adopt that, like making sure that we have cover options that are unique to the print-on-demand, so that we're not diluting collectible value for our Kickstarter backers.
All right, cool. Now, there's a little bit of pushback, right? You've already stated like you've sold 13,000 copies of digital, which is
for 47, yeah.
Right, which is incredible. Now, what were you charging? $2?
That's usually $1.99, yeah.
$1.99. Now, imagine if they were $2.99. It'd be an extra $13,000 in your pocket. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But and listen, you're not the only one that I have this discussion with, because I have my co-host Jay, who doesn't like to charge very much for his stuff either. But Stephen is asking an interesting question. Graphic novels are a difficult format to maintain. Speaking as someone with a lot of experience, even manga first go through an anthology format of large compiled magazines. He's talking about like Shonen Jump, right? Some transitional system is necessary to absorb production costs. Even something as direct as making it a webcomic first. Right. Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of truth in that. If I could produce original full-length graphic novels financially, I would just do it. Right. The problem is that we can't. That's why floppies are made monthly as it is, right? And then finally you collect a bunch of them and you put them together and you got your trade or your graphic novel, But if things were a little bit better financially, I would almost think that's the way to sort of jump to, because I've talked to so many people now that keep telling me that they've downsized their collection. Guys I see in the comic book shop trading in their floppies and buying trades and omnibuses.
Right. And so to that, even with the stuff that we're doing, like 47 Furious Tales is already applied out as 12 total issues as individual floppies. That's not going to change. Reign of Ages has been individual floppies. The intro story arc ends with issue 5. And then subsequent to that, we'll have complete stories in oversized format, whether that be 40 pages, 60 pages, whatever the story needs. And Tibby, or Time Traveling Psychedelic Mushrooms, is always scheduled to be entire stories self-contained. I think that there's a lot of good argument for that for the consumer, and a lot of good value. And for people who don't draw like me and Larry, the challenge, of course, is financial, because you want to take good care of your artists. You need to make sure that you're fighting that starving artist trope, because people don't want to work for you if you're paying them starvation wages. And I would be ashamed of myself if I was paying starvation wages. You've got to make sure that you're taking good care of your people. And the other nice side about that, when you pay your people well, is that when you pick up the phone and you say, hey, Damien, can you do this in the next, couple of weeks? Yeah. Or, call and say, hey, Alexia, we need this done by July 31st. Cool. No problem. That willingness to work, and when you act like a professional and you cultivate professionals, I think that you see the benefit at the end in the professional output.
All right, cool.
So to give you an idea, that's the original cover for Tibian or Time Traveling Psychedelic Mushrooms issue 1. And then that is the first cover for 47 Furious Tales issue 1. And then we have one of the covers for Reign of Ages right there on the wall. These guys are putting out fantastic work. And the same can be said for Larry's products too. And JD, yours as well, man. You guys put out some beautiful work.
JD's an industry vet of 1992. La Blue Girl. Anyone remember that, people?
Used to sell that in my comic shop, actually.
All right.
Look at this. I just got this sucker.
Look.
Oh, yeah.
Reprint. So, you know.
I was one of the play testers for the role-playing game for Tenchi Mayu.
Oh, really?
For the first edition, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
I got the guys who did that campaign. They're coming up here towards the end of the month, so I have to sign like $700. It's gonna be nuts.
That's epic, though.
Yeah, but to just to give everybody insight into what I do, as far as like Steven is correct, or Stephen, I'm destroying your name. I apologize, but to get to the point, like I produce individual issue, like limited series. It's usually for the Oswald Chronicles, 4 to 5 issues. Sometimes it'll go to 6, sometimes it'll go to 8, depending what the story needs. And I'll release them as individual issues in black and white. And then I'll compile it, do a trade paperback. Then at some point, I'll get them colored, release them in color, and then again, compile them again as in full color graphic novels. Mm-hmm. And eventually I'm going to hit the direct market with them. That's the next step. So the whole thing of, I look at it like this: as an independent publisher, I have to take as many bites out of that apple as I can get, mm-hmm. right? And this is the way I do it, right? And the thing is with the black and white books, those are very limited edition. They're limited to usually what's printed for the campaigns. I usually don't do that many more. I'm not printing like 4,000, 5,000. I'm keeping them very tight to the vest because I know I'm going to do these other formats. Right. And I don't want to get stuck with a bunch of books. And eventually I'm going to save the bigger end stuff for when I release it out off to the direct market. Right. Mm-hmm. That's when I'm going to, need storage.
And you bring up a good point about taking as many bites out of that apple as you can. Because when you've got your art in and you've got just your book, there's really a big impetus to make sure that you're maximizing your revenue on that. So I do a lot of different merch on top of stuff, whether it be art prints or mugs or shirts or what have you. Yeah. Give you an idea. I was just digging this out when you were talking about that. This is one of the art prints that we've got. This is the cover art minus the title card, obviously, for Art by Humans. And the thing is absolutely gorgeous. The funny part is I took some in for some friends I work with in the office. And now we've got a couple of judges who wanted some. So there's some judges' offices here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky that have that hanging in there when you walk in. So that's fun.
Cool. If I ever have the strange reason to be in one of their offices, like, Sam.
Yeah.
We know Sam, all right.
That's right.
He hangs out with that angry Canadian.
Yeah.
Yep, the angry Canadian. That's hysterical. There was a random encounter with a fan actually in a Kroger here in Frankfurt, and I'll tell you what.
Sorry, Sam.
Let me pause this for a second because we keep taking too much time out of Ray. Ray, I know you're short on time tonight. What do you want to add tonight before I get into this story?
Oh, that's okay. I was just listening to you guys play out. It's interesting to see the dynamic of like a direct correlation with physical media and age. It's very interesting to see how that has. I guess best way to put it is with the youth coming in. Either we convince them that physical media is cool or we just go with the flow. And until one of those two things happen, we have to just keep both sides happy, if that makes
Well,
sense.
in some ways, they do think physical media is cool. It's really weird because, like, a lot of the youth that I'm running into, they're buying cassette tapes, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is the oddest thing. You know, my brother, you know, he's a little bit older, but still he collects records. A lot of youth collect records and cassette tapes in terms of music. You know, I'm at my buddy's house having a drink and I'm like, oh, I should, you know, turn on my phone and get some music. And his kid goes, well, what do you want to listen to? I'm like, well, what do you got? And he brings down a box of cassette tapes and an old cassette recording. He's 19 years old. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. You know, so they do like physical media, but I just don't think they like floppies. That's all.
My youngest child, she's 11. I know, JD, she's 11 now. Can you believe that? How time has flown?
Wow.
She and her friends are absolutely enthralled by the record player in the living room. So we played different stuff on there. But it's always good to see Ray. I hope we get to see him again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I hope he's all right.
But yeah, weird. I'll segue this into a weird true story. I was at a Kroger in Frankfort, Kentucky, and there was this woman and her boyfriend, husband, whatever. And they recognized me, and they're like, "You're the guy, the comic guy on the YouTube channel with the angry Canadian."
Yeah, that's me.
I'm like, "Yeah, that's me. I'm on shows with the angry Canadian all the time."
All the time.
That's hilarious.
Larry. Yes, get it?
There you go.
Hilarious. Yep.
Oh,
But yeah, it was fun. And every once in a while I run into him again and they'll like wave him like he's still mad.
He's still mad.
He's still mad.
He's
Larry,
still
what are you mad at today? Well, you saw
I'm
Brent's
not
show.
mad at anything. I just question things. I'm the guy who likes to challenge the status quo, and I think it needs to be challenged from time to time, you know? Just like I need to be challenged from time to time.
Yeah, no, of course. Well, listen, I'll be honest with you, we all do, right? Because you know, I'm getting on in years, right? So, you know, one of the things, you know, it's like I told somebody, it's like my body's breaking down, but my brain, my heart, you know, my soul is still 12 years old, right? It still wants to do comic books. It still wants to like enjoy all the things that I've always enjoyed. I still watch anime. I still watch all these crazy science fiction movies. Look, after this, I'm gonna go watch Game of Thrones, right? Like, you know, we want to continue doing these things for as long as we want to do them. But yeah, pushback is important because if not, you know, we just, you know, grow. We just a trophy into these positions, right? We just hear our own little voice, little brains in our voice boxes, and you were just like, oh, you know,
You never want to be too comfortable, you know.
Exactly. You know, except, you know, well, only when I sleep.
Well, I mean, it's nice if you're comfortable and you got, you know, lots of resources and you can afford to take some risk, right? I mean, there's always a balance in everything, you know, but a little bit of challenge, a little bit of pushback, a little bit of why, you know, never hurts. You know what I mean?
No, not at all. That's why I think it's important that we do sometimes push on each other. We're like, all right, well, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? You know? So yeah, listen, I got another question. How are you guys seeing the current state of Kickstarter? Right? Like what are you guys seeing from your perspective? Right?
You want to go first, Sam? Because I could be long on this.
Yeah, I probably won't be very long on this. So last year I was mostly off Kickstarter for a lot of reasons. But in preparation for things going on, I've been doing, you know, the initial legwork. And I'm looking at folks who I normally see a lot of similar audiences with. And so I'm seeing that after what I would call a pretty significant dip in 2024, I'm starting to see like a return to better numbers. Now, I think that one of the things that a lot of creators got caught by off guard was that they saw the height of the indie comic market that was going on during the pandemic lockdowns. And so I think most creators then were seeing abnormally higher revenue on their crowdfunding. Now, several of those creators are still continuing to see similar or even higher, but that's a very small population relatively. But I do think we're seeing more and more people coming back to Kickstarter. I think that a lot of people who have been recognized on social media as bad actors
have many of them been driven off the platform. And yeah, I think that it's becoming a place again where people are optimistic about new and exciting things again. So here is hoping I'm right and that everyone's having a great experience. I know that I am still actually backing many of the same people I've been backing for years because I have titles that I'm invested in. And even some creators who are starting new titles, like one of my favorite creators, Madeline Holly Rossing, really enjoying some of her newer work. Of course, Mike Shea, Miskatonic High, fantastic work. Larry and his product, Max DeVille, hoping we're going to see something from him later this year. And of course, just tons of other folks. Some people you should probably have on too. Warren Brown, you should look into having him on the show, JD. It would be really, I think, a really interesting line of conversation there for you. So yeah, in short, I guess I'm optimistic. I'm and not even cautiously optimistic like I normally am. I think I have a genuine optimism for the health of the Kickstarter platform right now.
All right. So a lot of what he said is absolutely correct, right? In fact, all of what he said is absolutely correct. During COVID, that was Niobe's best time, right? So right at the tail end of COVID, we did Outbreak 1 and it did $31,000. It's the most I've ever done on Kickstarter, period, bar none, and a story. My Kickstarters don't do that well anymore. Why? Because Sam is right. During the COVID period, people were backing more than they would usually back. People had a little bit more money than they usually did. People had a little bit more time than they usually did. Indie comics were on the boom. Things were erupting all over YouTube, whether it would be Indiegogo or what we do here on Kickstarter. Okay. Buying Kickstarter books was hip and cool for a while. A lot of speculators were also buying Kickstarter books at this time. Then the economy hit and things crashed hard for a while. We're sort of on this rebuilding phase now of seeing who's left after all the dust has settled, right? And those properties, luckily Niobe's still one of them that has been around for over a decade, can still hold on and still at least attract our hardcore backers that we had before, and just at least keeping us treading water and keeping our head above. But long gone are the booms. And the same thing happened on eBay, right? People were buying and trading Marvel and DC comics at insane amounts of prices. People were buying $500 books for $2,000, and then when the crash happened, they're like, oh shit, I way overpaid for this book. People are finding that out the hard way, and they've been finding out the hard way, and that for the last couple of years. I see all kinds of YouTube videos where people are crying about this. You know what I mean? So I think the market itself is sort of rebalancing itself, and it may still take a little while yet for it to completely sort of level out. But Sam's right. It's on its way. I'm optimistic. I got a decent start on my Kickstarter, but I've also done Kickstarters where we made 10 grand on night one, but again, that was COVID times, right? So people who are expecting that sort of same success 4 years ago, got news for you. Probably isn't going to be that way unless if you're that, exceptional few that Sam had mentioned, but 10% or less of people that do comics on Kickstarter, as far as I am aware, are hitting 6-figure campaigns here, right? Let's be honest. You know what I mean? You got your Common Americas, you got your Brian Politos, you may got your Pat Shans out there that are doing their thing. But I mean, I'd be hard pressed to name you 10, very, right? Yep. So a lot of us sort of fall into the range. We're making a few $1,000s. If we're lucky, we're getting 10 or 20, What I see on Kickstarter is what I've always seen on Kickstarter. If I go to Kickstarter comics and click the popularity button, it's all sexy down the road. And then you get some oddballs in there. That's what I'm still seeing. That's still the meta.
Right. Okay. That's cool. It's funny. I mean, listen, both of you guys are right. I mean, that's the trend that's just been going down. The one thing, I've discussed it before on this show is that we've seen pretty much a dip in everyone's Kickstarter of about 30%, right? And that's with the exceptions of, the big IPs, Transformers, whatever, stuff of that nature by the creators who come out of Marvel and DC. Sometimes Image, they don't see as significant drops, but the rest of us, I've seen about a 30% drop, and that includes some of the names you mentioned. Like, even though they're still doing great, and I think their numbers are starting to improve, but
Madeline's a really good example of that.
right,
Her new titles did not fund to the same level as her preceding one, but she's seeing steady growth on that.
right,
Mike with Miskatonic, he definitely saw a little bit of a dip in 2024 like everyone else did, but he is recovering remarkably on that. His backer numbers are very, very strong, and he was probably not impacted to the extent I think that many people were. His numbers didn't dip all that much, but it was noticeable, but not the full like 25-30% that a lot of people saw. And I think there's a few others that we could probably call out. I mean, as weird as it is to say, Antarctic Press's numbers didn't really change. I think a full 30%, and maybe 15%, possibly as high as 20% in the dip. But we're seeing, especially like Tomorrow Girl, a rebound on the funding there. And JD, correct me if I'm wrong, but your last campaign did remarkable. What, like 40 more backers than the one prior to that?
Yeah,
like that
for Magi's Grace. Yeah, Magi's Grace did well.
So I mean, I haven't been as eagle-eyed as I normally am over the last year, but even I can say, well, I mean, hey, it's good to see JD's numbers rebound like that. You know what I mean? So, and the thing too, I mean, we get obsessed about the monetary figures, and of course that's important to fund our goals, but that retention of supporters, that retention of the audience, that's what's going to take us from beyond today's campaign and get us prepared and ready for the campaign in 2 months or 3 months or what have you. And now for those of you who are watching this now, those of you who are watching this later, I'm going to say something, and I want you to just understand this is my observation. These two gentlemen have been remarkably dependable with regards to their crowdfunding. I have never known either one of these individuals to have a successful crowdfunding campaign that they did not meet or exceed expectations on, with fulfillment, product quality, the whole 9 yards. And I am remarkably picky. Some might say a little bit bitchy about this kind of stuff, because when people don't fulfill their crowdfunding or obligations, it rubs me raw. Okay. But I think that, like I said, I think a lot of the people who had come in looking to make a quick buck have realized that's not, the Kickstarter isn't the way to do it. And so I see a lot of them falling on the wayside. And a lot of people with really strong, mostly niche audiences, of course, because we all have our own particular stuff we're doing, really coming, whether it's superheroes or anthropomorphics or, you know, weird psychedelic bullshit like yours truly, or, you know, people like some of the stuff that Bitsy Tandem does. I should have mentioned Bitsy. I don't realize why I didn't mention her, but yeah, let's just give a shout out to Bitsy. It's a convocation of creative hearts and minds, and I think that there is this really fantastic sense coming back of like the town market, or that space that you're at, you know, the local Comic-Con or something, where people are coming in and they're showing this cool stuff they've made, and you can access that all from the convenience of your home.
Oh, cool.
I like the part where you hinted that we get paid for this. Since when?
Well, you know, some people do. I mean, I've actually only profited on one Kickstarter campaign. All the rest of my profits actually come subsequent to it. Kickstarter just basically helps me either finish the production and or print run, or, you know, sometimes just the print run, which is what
usually Kickstarter's profits for me, not this one. This one is really intended for its sole purpose of actually funding the creation of this book.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll be lucky if we can do that. You know what I mean?
You're about what, halfway there?
Oh, I'm 77% there.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a tradition, JD. Me and Larry do. Okay. And if you don't mind, I'd like to share that on your show. I usually,
Sam's going to make his bold prediction.
I'm
Right
gonna
now.
make my prediction. The last time I checked, you were a little under 8,000 USD, right?
No, God, no. I'm at 7,100 Canadian, which is
it
probably 5 and change US, like
Okay.
late, upper 5s, maybe early 6. Like I'm not sure the exact conversion rate anymore, but
'Cause I think the last time I saw it was when you were doing a video, because I pledged and I hadn't been back since then. 5 days,
14.
5K, right?
Mhm.
5 days, 5K, sure.
My estimate is $11,000 USD.
Yeah, well, that would put me about 16, 17 Canadian, which is about the average that we kind of do the last few outings that we've had for Outbreak.
Yeah, I think that's where you're going to land. So
My
you heard
prediction
it, you heard it
is,
here.
well, my prediction is, we got 25 days left. We need less than 2,000 Canadian. So for the price, by the way, people, of a Starbucks cup of coffee, you too can help feed a starving Canadian beyond the wall, just like me. by pledging today. Okay. With that being said, where was I going with this, Sam? What we're talking about?
We were talking about the magnificence of meeting goals, meeting expectation, and reaching and surpassing my projection.
Right. So prediction. It was the prediction. My prediction is 14K Canadian.
Okay.
So I think we'll get to the $9,000 goal probably about midway through the campaign. We'll go through that dead zone period. At the end, we're going to pick up some more backers, okay? And then I'll drop it in the late pledges for a month like I did with Outbreak 4.
Right.
Because that ended at about 13K, and then putting it into late pledges brought us an extra $2 or $3 grand, right? So it brought us almost like $5 short of 16K sort of deal, right? So considering I take nothing for granted anymore, that long gone are the days of $31,000 campaigns for Niobe right now, right? COVID is over, right? We've covered that. I'm going to go on the more conservative side with this and give a prediction even lower than yours. I think we'll make it. I think we'll have a little bit of extra to play with, but I don't think it's going to be much. You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
Yeah.
And that's not like me being down or not positive about what we put out. I'm just looking at the trend. There's another site that you guys can go to. Those who don't know, it's called KickTrack. And after a week or two, that starts giving you more and more accurate predictions of where you're actually going to end up. It's actually a pretty useful tool.
I think that I'm just weird enough that it doesn't really work for me. KickTrack, like you'll say, I'll be 2 weeks into a 3-week campaign. You'll be like, you're going to hit $11,000. Newsflash. We have never reached
No, that's because you're looking at what it says you're trending towards. You're not actually going to the tab that says, or maybe you are and it's lying to you. But if you go to the predictions tab, it's got 3 different things. Right. It has what it thinks you're going to make on the low end, what it thinks you're going to make on the mid, and then on the high end. I
usually look at the mid on that is what I'm basing that on. And it'll usually be about $2,000 or $3,000 higher than what we actually hit. So I'm actually to the point where I look at it and I'm like, damn, if we are $2,000 lower than that, we're not going to fund. I need to kick it in gear, man. So, but it's the Kickstarter. For those of you who's never run a Kickstarter before, you get into this thing where you wake up in the morning and you check your Kickstarter campaign. You'd be drinking coffee or you pull up your phone. What's my Kickstarter at?
I'm checking it right now.
Cool. We got like six backers while I was sleeping, or we got like 40 backers while we're sleeping, or hey, we made goal while I was sleeping. Holy crap. Yay, team. And then
Shikari in the chat. You mentioned Shikari.
Yeah, Shikari was in the chat.
I didn't see him pop up. I've been watching the chat all night.
I think he's on Facebook.
Oh, that's why I didn't see it. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, happy birthday, man.
Yep. Happy birthday, Shikari.
I love me some Shikari. I just can't afford to hire him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know that feeling.
So what else you got for us, JD? Hit us, man. Hit us up.
I got you. All right. So, actually, there was something I want to ask you about, Larry. So, you've been working with Ben Dunn for a while, right? Have you seen, when was the last time you actually did a book that dropped through Antarctic Press? And I don't need exact numbers, but have you seen a sales difference since they've moved from Diamond to Lunar? Right. Okay. I'm not asking for numbers. I'm just having.
Well, I don't have the numbers, so I can't get them to you. And even if I did have the numbers, because I've had the numbers before, I got my wrist slapped for it. Right. But I do know a little bit that I can tell you. First question is, when was the last time we published through Antarctic Press? Diamond was still a thing. and it was Niobe Outbreak number 3. Then Diamond had crashed, and then Antarctic Press had made the decision to cut some of the creator-owned books.
Right.
I asked for a release officially from the contract if they were going to do that, so I could shop Niobe around. Never shopped Niobe around. Figured I would wait till I got the whole series done first, and I'll wait and come to YouTube. More money. Yeah, come to YouTube, make more money. You know what I mean? He's like $7,000 a cover. I got like $7,000 on my campaign. Now, granted, if I had a Shikiri cover, we would sell more. I just don't have the upfront cost to hire a guy like that, right?
Yeah.
If I did, it would be done, because I know the investment would be well worth it. But going back to God, what was it? I keep skipping here.
Oh, numbers to Ben Dunn.
Yeah. The whole Ben Dunn thing. So it looked like we were without a home publishing for a while.
Right.
Fall of Diamond, right? We all know about the Fall of Diamond. Well, a year later, Ben Dunn hooks up with Massive Indies, and they have a deal with Lunar. So they're now through Lunar, okay? And so I get a call from Ben Dunn over the Christmas holidays, and they're saying, hey, we kind of want to bring Niobe back. Are you interested? Ben Dunn said, you'd be dealing with me, directly with me. That's how it will roll. And I said, A1, count me in. So Niobe's coming back. Now, during that call, what he also told me is that they're selling about 20 to 30% more by actually being listed with Lunar than they were with Diamond. Now, that's good. The problem is that they actually don't see that profit margin because there's a listing fee to be with Massive Indies, and it was $500 per title per month. Now, they got a better deal than that because they're a company and a long-standing company, but they're still paying listing fees for each and every title that they're popping up.
Right.
Oh, we missed a reply on Facebook.
You'll get more revenue on YouTube for your live. I'm lost. Wait, how are we making money again? I haven't made money on YouTube like ever.
Yes, there's stuff.
You know what I mean?
I got a super chat last week, and I was like, "What the hell is that?"
Right?
The weird thing is the only time I make money on YouTube is when I have like a sale. And it's usually on Larry's channel or someone else's channel. They're like, "Hey, what are you guys offering?" I'm like, "Hey, I got this original, or I got this book," and then we get to do the whole thing where we package stuff on the stream and get everything together. That's always fun. I actually really like doing that.
So long story short, they're selling more, but they're paying more to be listed, right?
Right.
But I feel that we can do better than that. I feel that Antarctic Press still has lots of room to grow, lots of ideas that can be tried, and they're trying some different things, right? But I feel with the right books, and they have some of the right books. They have Critter from Tom Hutchinson. That was a big grab for Antarctic Press, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? Critter's been around for a long time. They used to be published on the shelves through Aspen Comics. Critter AP also has Common America. Huge success, especially overseas, right? They hit that demographic that we all wish we could hit. Then there's Punchline from Bill Williams and Matt Weldon. Then there's the Mount Olympus stuff. Then there's, and I'll put myself at the bottom of the list, but we were second best-selling book for 2 years straight with them when we were with Diamond, which was Niobe Origins, okay? I want my spot back. I'm coming for my spot back, all right? And then you also had a huge success with Sam. He mentioned Tibby and her time-traveling psychedelic mushrooms sold out, talk about second print, right? So I think if Antarctic can really push those titles and a few others, like their long-standing titles, like Ninja High School and whatever they do with Fred Perry, I know he's kind of out of the game, but he's not. He does these little mini series and stuff like that now, as opposed to the full issue run. And then look for the next great creators, right? So AP is always looking for submissions, whether it's like to publish your book or to put your story into an anthology. Which is how I got started through the anthology series. It's a great way to get your foot in the door, by the way. They're always looking for new talent, And so if I was AP, because they were talking about like, we're kind of like Image 2.0, but we don't have the founders. I'm like, find your own founders. Go out and start talent searching for the best artists and writers that are out there who are hungry. Because I guarantee you, there are guys out there who've yet to be discovered who would love a chance to be published that has those skills. We can make... we could be a contender if we really wanted to.
So as a not even a secondary, maybe even like a third tier or fourth tier funding, was it worth it? Or is it worth it?
Yes.
Right, because it's not your first tier funding. That would be Kickstarter. Second tier might be conventions or whatever, like yeah. So Sam, what are your thoughts? Is it worth it?
It definitely opened up some more fans for me. Now, as far as financially going, I mean, I was profitable from releasing through Antarctic. And I say that specific to that release line, right? So, because I had new cover costs that was covered, and I was profitable after that. I will tell you that from having been on the direct market on that, I saw a lot more sales through our deal with Comics Mainstream Distribution and Adam Watson. We had to ship a couple of boxes of Tibby from the crowdfunding stock out there to cover orders from there. And actually that deal also resulted in us selling out the remaining of our holochrome inventory. Of course, we only printed 50 of them. Our deal was we were never going to print any more. But, 50 books with a retail price of, 50 a piece. And we had I think 20 something left at 28 or something left at the time. We had one buyer who picked up 9 of them in one order. So, I mean, $450 order for comics was nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, as far as Shikari's question goes, I mean, I'm assuming that's asked to me. The answer is I don't know anything about them, really. All I can tell you was what I saw in the sales report. When I did see a sales report, they were number 1. I was second only by 15 copies. As far as what they're using, what they're producing, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Right.
The thing about that is we just, speaking for myself, I just focus on my own work. And then the stuff that Antarctic wanted, particularly, was Tibby. And then they had expressed some interest about 47, but I'm not going to put 47 into main market release until we're at episode 11 or maybe 10, because I want to be able to release everything on a monthly cadence with that so that we can get it out responsibly. I don't want to be in a position where we're like, hey, the book came out and then in the mainstream market had to wait so long. I hate waiting so long in crowdfunding market, but the reality is Alexia is worth every penny, right? I think is the best way to put it. And so we pay her that pretty little penny to get stuff done. And Shikari, if you haven't seen the work, man, you should definitely check it out. I think you're gonna really like her art style.
All right, cool. Now, what is this? He's asking about Mount Olympus. What do they produce? What's the book they produce?
Patriotica.
Okay, gotcha.
And then there's a few different spin-off series from there, like they had Valkyrie and a couple of other things.
Right, gotcha. Yeah, I saw that dude one time at New York Comic Con. I just walked by and said, so I recognize that, and I just kept walking. But I know nothing about that guy.
I really want to go back to New York Comic Con next year. 2023.
I would like to go to New York, period. That'd be cool. And then I would crash on JD's couch and get him drunk.
Good luck with getting me drunk.
Well, we're going out, Daphne. See you later.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not sure which would be more fun to party with, JD or Daphne. I bet Daphne could really
Get Tom
make you
in
laugh
here,
your butt
man.
off.
Tom, why are you not just in here hanging out with us? I feel like you and I, Tom, have lost connection. Why is that?
And I think Tom's right about that, though, too. It seems like, especially over what'd you say, Tom, the last 6-7 months, AP's release schedule has become much more precise. I don't think
that's a lot to do with Lunar. You know what I mean?
I don't think there's I don't think I've seen any books delayed that they had solicited, at least none that I recall in the last 6 or 7 months.
Yeah,
man. Tom would know. Tom has his ear to the ground. Tom is in communication with AP quite a bit. I know this. Tom is always the guy who's always going to wonder how well his book is doing and stuff like that.
Maybe
and he's right.
Reach out to Ben and Tom and get them on one night for a show and just
do a whole AP special. You know,
really do a deep dive on that.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people would be interested, and not to mention really pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, probably the two of them, and probably Bill Williams, because I've had Bill on a couple of times.
Yeah, Yeah.
As far as your question goes, on my end, is it worth it? I mean, I'm not getting rich from it. I don't think anyone that's selling through AP is getting tens of thousands of dollars. If they are, tell me, because I feel then I'm getting ripped off somewhere then. But it's worth it in the sense of more people are discovering my book, right? You know, when you're selling 3,000 copies in the direct market versus the 400 you might be selling on your Kickstarter, that's 90% more than what you're doing, right? I've had people that read Niobe Outbreak 1, 2, and 3, make YouTube videos on it, review videos on it with their Antarctic Press copies that had no idea that we had 4 out or working on 5 and had no idea what a Kickstarter is. That's the advantage.
Yep.
Mm.
Now,
Yeah.
I'll tell you too, another thing that as far as value goes, we actually did sell a lot of, and by a lot, I mean, I think 70, maybe 75 of the Tibby art prints as a result that I credit anyway to the release through Anarch Press, because we had the original cover art and such, and people were like, "Hey, I got this at my comic shop, and this is awesome." I'm like, yeah, this is the original Kickstarter cover, and I mean that's nothing to sneeze at, man. Now, don't get me wrong, I'd rather see 700, 7,000 or whatever, but you get a few hundred extra dollars at a comic convention, and that'll make you feel good real quick.
Yeah. Well, and also it's cumulative, right? So, you're not just selling it the one time, it's cumulative over time, right?
Yeah.
Tom is right again, right? And this is the discussion that I had with Tom when he first joined with the Antarctic, asking me what was the advantages. And I'm like, well, dude, you get to advertise your shit to a broader audience. You know what I mean? Yeah. And on top of that, we get to advertise each other now, right? So if Tom's with the Antarctic Press and you're buying a Critter book, maybe Niobe is that advertisement on the front inside cover or back cover. You know what I mean? Thus getting more people to my product, thus getting more people to his product. And I can tell you, ever since I had that publishing deal, I've been invited back to cons. Funny how that works, huh?
I know, right?
No, I mean, but listen, that, like you said, that's a positive aspect of it, I mean, that's really good. So, all right. So overall, you guys felt this very positive thing, which is good, right?
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't cost us anything, right? Like if you're asking, like, we had to pay a listing fee and all this sorts of stuff, would it be worth it? My answer would be different, but it absolutely costs me nothing to do it. I get a little bit in return and hopefully more exposure.
Right.
And for me, like I said, I had a little extra expense because I made an entirely new cover commissioned.
Mm-hmm.
But even beyond that, we were profitable on that, and we had a lot of secondary after effects that pulled in a couple of $1,000s worth of revenue for us, and that's on top of the fact that we had, like, our Kickstarter, we had an ad that we had on the back of that Kickstarter copy, which was
yes, there he is, big dog. Whoop, whoop.
Tom, it's been too long, bro. How you doing?
I'm gonna crash this fucking party. Like,
right? I'm here to tell Larry he's wrong about everything.
That's where we're gonna start. Yeah. No, I don't know how much. I'm fucking exhausted. I've been working all day. I was not planning to be on, but I was on my phone at the same time, and I saw you guys talking, so I was kind of vaguely paying attention a little bit. So I got
lay it on us, big dog. What's up?
Just working. We're ending the Kickstarter tonight, the Oz Kickstarter. So I've been working on that, and I've just been working on books way ahead. I've got CB Zane just gave me pages for Goth Day, which isn't till May, and we're way ahead on everything. So, which is good. Finally got that infrastructure built so that we're getting way ahead on production. So I'm just fucking exhausted, but I got, like I said, I got minutes, so I'll sit in. We were talking about AP and stuff, which AP's been really good to me. For I don't know, we were there for like a year, and then it all crapped out, and then it all came back, and since it's come back, with Lunar, even when we were Diamond, Critter sales were really good, especially considering it's a third printing of the book. This is the third run through, and it's
but to many people, it's brand new.
100%. People are buying it like it's a new book, like they've never seen it before. And what's funny is they're only on issue like 10 or something in the stores. And
you got like 24.
Yeah. Oh, we've got like 30 issues of this book.
Oh,
so,
30 now. Okay.
Yeah. So like when we go to cons, people will see Critter on the table, but they won't know what it is because it wasn't what was in the store. And they're like, wait a minute, what is this? And I'm like, well, yeah, this is Critter. And like, yeah, I know, I get it at my store, but this is issue 25. Like I'm only on, and I'm like, well, let me tell you a story about what's going on. And so they get excited about the book, sort of knowing that there's more to come. So it's like an instant, like, it doesn't necessarily mean that they buy it from me at the con, because they're like, well, I get it from my store, so I want to keep getting it. And I'm like, do it. That's fine. But oftentimes they'll buy a variant cover or something. But the excitement for them is that they see a series that's going to keep going. It's not going to stop and disappear in the middle of, we're on to issue 12 and then it's gone. So, so there's value in being able to talk to the customers and say, like, look, this is what it is. You have a long way ahead of you to keep buying this book, and they get excited about it. So, and then when we put out the AP let us expand the book. So we put out the Critterverse, all of our one-shots that we had done way back in the day.
Guess what I saw in my comic book shop this week? And here's the power of it, right? I'm in East Coast, buckfuck nowhere, Canada, and I'm seeing the Rookie on the goddamn comic book shelf on Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh, is it out this Wednesday? Nice.
I think it's already out, dude. Is it not?
It's possible. I
saw one of your books just this Wednesday, and I assumed it was the Rookie, man. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, that would be the one that would be next. So yeah. But what's the interesting part there is when I talk to Brian, because I always ask him, like, okay, what did we sell here? The order numbers on those spinoff books were higher than the first time we ever printed them with Diamond back in the day. So we sold more units on a second printing, in this environment than we did the first time through. So, it's an interesting, but like Larry was talking about, there is the listing fee, which kind of cuts, some of that down a little bit. But for me, I've always just treated it as a marketing expense. Like I put a new cover on it. They do all the work. I'm like, this is fine. I have no problem with this. And as long as the sales numbers are good for them, they're good for me. So we'll just keep going until we run out of stuff. But at the rate that, because they only do it every 2 months, it's an every other month book. So we got years of time to, catch up to where we are now. And we're going to do more Critter next year. So we'll be fine.
When's Lights, Camera, Jungle Part 2, Tom?
I don't know.
That was the first book I Kickstarted from Tom, right?
That was my first Kickstarter. That was our test way back in the day. That and then Kaiju Epic. We did those two to test Kickstarter while we were with Aspen, to just kind of be like, okay, let's just do this over here.
That's how far it goes. But I didn't even realize that. Damn.
Yeah. It was a long time ago. And part of the thing with Lights, Camera, Jungle was I created it with Jen Broomall. And she just doesn't have time to do it.
I'm just busting your balls, Tom. You know that.
No, but it's a fair question, because I talked to her about it, and I talk about doing more. And I asked her, and she just can't do it. And I'm like, okay, well, it just feels weird to me to do it without her, because she was like my co-creator. But I'm sure if I were to be like, look, I just want to do more. Do you want to just do like some covers and I'll hire somebody? I'm sure she'll be fine with it. But I just wanted to like give her that opportunity to be like, do you want to come back? Do you want to do another one? Like, we can plan it within your schedule if you want to do it. But she's like doing her own stuff now. She's doing like this this fantasy comic book thing that she's doing her own creation. So I think if we get to Lights, Camera, Jungle again, it'll be just with a new artist, and we'll get her to do some covers.
There you go.
All right.
Almost time to look at some campaigns, don't you think, JD?
What are you talking about, bro? I'm right there.
Boom.
Talking about him right there. All right, so Larry, man, talk to me. What do we got? What do we?
It's like Cody Rhodes from WWE, brother. It's time to finish the story. You know what I mean? This is the 5th and final issue of the Outbreak series. And once we get this done, then we can put it out through AP and put out the final 2 issues so that our fans that are out there can get those. And you'll have exclusive covers here. I'm thinking we're going to do different covers for our AP releases. We didn't do that before, but I like Tom's strategy of that. You know what I mean? So I think that's something we're going to do for the last 2 issues. It's just, I may just have Ben Dunn do the covers, you know what I mean? And then pump them out, There's
a lot to be said for that.
Yeah. Well, he's the legend. He's the sensei, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I mean, this brings Vira and Niobe to their final epic battle. Vira has escaped captivity. They're tracking her down. Angel Elite is now involved, and the Angels aren't messing around. And that's cover A right there. So Niobe's looking like she's having a bad day. That could be some some fortune telling there. I'm not going to spoil too much there, but it's a heavy hitting book. I really do bring things to an end of this story, because when I produce books after this, they're only going to be one shots, like 30-page one shot sort of deals, instead of trying to do an indie mini series over 4 years on Kickstarter. I'd rather just pump them out as one shots. You know what I mean? That's Ben Dunn's cover right there, by the way. Gorgeous colors by Dan O'Vera. So shout out to the sensei. We got LC Faritas here, who does a dynamite job. And Vyra already thinks she's won the battle. She thinks she's like the goddamn mother of dragons there, sitting on her throne. So, we'll see if she, is the one that wins. Locke Nguyen, who's also got these gorgeous one-on-one sketch cards on our campaign now that people can buy. Great cover, great colors. This pops great action scene right there. And then if you want to get it done because it's a takedown and you're feeling golden, maybe you'll like our Narcilio Souza K-pop Demon Hunter inspired cover right there. You know what I mean?
I like that one. That was
the
pretty
girls are cosplaying as the K-pop Demon Hunters. Cool. And then last but not least, he is a Zenoscope alumni. He's as far as I'm concerned, veteran of this business. He works with Lady Death, Brian Polito, and Tom Hutchinson, and a host of others. It's Keith Garvey.
Yep.
Not to be confused with Keith Gravy, right, Tom?
That guy, I don't know. That guy is still around.
Right?
Keith Gravy. Nice.
Tom made fun of me because I misspelled his name once.
Oh, gotcha.
It's Keith Garvey, right? Not Keith Gravy. I'm like, yes, I know. And these are just some of the pages that are inside a Niobe book. If no one's ever seen a Niobe and how this looks on the inside, this is the deal. These are all drawn by Juan Antonio and colored by Dan O'Vera. And then we're going to give you some spoiler pages into the new campaign. We're still having pages on, like, one's being colored as I speak. I could end up having it tonight. And if I do, I'll update the Kickstarter. But that's some of the new shots right there. I cannot show you what's going on there. I want to, but I can't, right? That's why there's a big spoiler thing right there. And then as we scroll down, there's another page also where I have another little spoiler alert that we can't show you, right? This whole book is full of spoilers, right? It's hard, you know what I mean? But we got more stuff in the works. We got, combo packs that you can get all 5 covers, all 5 issues, like the Ben Dunn deal. It's been done before. It's been done again because it's a Ben Dunn deal. Issues 1 to 5. We had Ben do a cover for each and every one of them. It's a great set. Same thing with Keith Garvey. He's got some gorgeous covers there, right there. So you got Niobe on her own. And I did this as a theme, right? So I wanted Niobe on the first one by herself. Second one, she's going to be standing there with someone, right? So there's Niobe Catcall. Then the third one's Niobe Sybil. The fourth one is Niobe and Ariel. And then, of course, the last one has to be Niobe and the major villain of the story, Vyra, right? So another beautiful set right there that we're offering. Cool. And then digital. We had this talk, man. People are buying digital. And they're buying higher tier digital too, right? So I've come to embrace digital where maybe if you asked me 5 or 6 years ago, Sam's smiling because he knows.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, fuck digital. I'm only selling hard copy. Well, you know what I mean?
That was a struggle of a conversation. Like every campaign.
But I can adapt. I have seen the light. Digital is a thing and people love it. So we definitely offer everything that we have, including the kitchen sink, in digital. It's there. And we did a digital campaign that almost ran $5,000. It was completely digital. I don't know if anyone had ever done it before, but I did it 6-7 months ago where I ran a campaign that was nothing but digital. Right?
Yeah, listen, I saw that. Good job. Because I remember also back then, you were like, fuck digital, no digital. I was like, what's wrong with this?
That's exactly how he put it too.
He's like, fuck digital. I was like, what are you talking about?
Well, I put it all to the test, right?
Yeah.
And these are some beautiful cards that you can get. Some of these are already gone. That one's actually sold out, so I got to mark that as sold. But these are one-on-one original art encased in slabs by Locke himself. You get one of these, you're the only one with this, and of course you'll get the comic with it, his cover, of course, and a digital copy of the book as well, right? So
very nice.
And then we just have everything you need to catch up from Niobe Origins. That's a Chris Enoch cover right there. Then we have Niobe Birthright, the combo pack. Then we have Savage Sin. We have Niobe Penguina, the crossover I got to do with Ben Dunn. So all kinds of goodies right there to catch everyone up. I got limited add-ons. Some of these I only have 5 of, like that Jamie Tyndall cover. I got 5 of those left, so they're listed, right? That Keith Garvey cover, that men's magazine, I got 15 of those left, so they're listed. If people want to grab some of those Chung Lee covers, those are hot at conventions. I have 10 sets of those left. Take them from me. Okay. That Keith Garvey Virgin variant of Savage Sin, those are foil covers.
Cover.
Okay. There are 10 foil covers available on this campaign as add-ons if someone wants to
Yeah,
scoop
I have
them up.
one of those. They're fucking gorgeous. Pardon my language.
Really nice.
They are.
And then it's,
gorgeous.
notes on who everyone is and how we ship and, all that good stuff. Do your survey so we know where to send your books. And we print with Comics Wellspring, and they do a great job.
All right, cool. Very nice. And how much time you got left here?
All kinds of time. We're 77% funded, and we got 24 days left to go. So
you're definitely gonna you'll at least
we'll fund. It's just how much past funding will we go? I don't know, but I am gonna put it in late pledges for another month, right? If we fund, because we'll still be working on the book anyway, so there's no reason not to acquire more sales while we're still doing pages.
Mm-hmm.
All right, very nice, very nice. I like
Jess, if you come in late, you're gonna be charged a little extra. That's the incentive of not being late.
Right.
Yep.
All right, cool. Mr. Quinton.
Yes. And of course, we don't have a campaign running right now. We're going to be doing our pre-launch page here in a couple of weeks, but we do have our
drive-through page.
Online store on Drive-Thru Comics, Drive-Thru RPG. Folks, you can get our comics, our role-playing games, Dungeons and Dames, which is an art book series we did during the pandemic 2 different times to help keep money in the pockets of our artists when things were slow. Art posters, and a whole bunch of things here that you can do. And like I said, our digitals are easily affordable. One of the nice things about using drive-through is that once you buy something, it stays in your library, so that if you have a hard drive failure or you lose your computer or it's on your phone and your phone gets tossed or something, you can always come back and pull it back down at no extra cost for you. As a creator, one of the things I like and one of the things I do is once we are profitable on titles, I go back and I go ahead and add additional royalties for the contributing team. So everyone's paid up front, obviously, when we do our stuff. And then once we do reach profit, we go ahead and add on a little extra for our people. So it goes back to taking care of our artists. 47 Furious Tales, the story of the 47 Ronin told through anthropomorphic animals. Reign of Ages is our black and white dark fantasy. We're going through the Blood and Stone story arc, the introductory story arc, which was 5 issues, 1 through 3 are on drive-through right now. Necroholic is a dark comedy by Brian Lee. We're publishing his work for him, and that is a dark comedy about a modern-day necromancer with a drinking problem. And then Tibbing and Her Time-Traveling Psychedelic Mushrooms, which is exactly about just that. 18-plus title because it is a little risque. And then you're going to find stuff for your D&D games, 5th edition content, adventures, source books, and the only book of mine that's ever been banned in a country, Whispers of Persephone, which got me banned in the UAE for, of all things, sorcery. So it's the only book I've had that's been banned anywhere. I'm sure that if someone tries to buy it somewhere else in certain places, we'll probably get similar bans. But didn't even know it. We had a Kickstarter backer shipped his book to him, and he messaged me and said that customs in the UAE had seized his book. It was being banned for sorcery, and he paid a $1,000 fine or bribe or whatever to get his book out. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, but there's no way I can reimburse you that $1,000. And he sent me a message back. He's like, no, screw them. It's my D&D game. I'm like, okay, homie, whatever.
Right.
He's one of those guys. Every time we do anything, it doesn't matter what it is, even if it's stuff that he's not into. He's like, I support you anyway. Here's $10, and he'll sit there. He'll either pledge for digital or no reward or whatever.
That legit just happened to me. I got a $10 digital pledge.
There you go, man. Yeah, it's cool. But we've been doing this since 2017. You can see our catalog gets bigger and bigger. Nothing compared to Tom's yet, but we're working on stuff.
All right, cool.
So
when are you gonna have your next page up?
We should have the pre-launch page for Art by Humans up in 2 weeks, and then we'll probably launch about a week after that. We have some support coming in from some new avenues. The guys at Villain Support have offered to promote us, which I thought was really, really cool of them. By the way, if you like really good comedy sketches about pop culture and different characters, definitely check out the guys at Villain Support on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook. These guys are hilarious. And if you look carefully in the background, you will see a lot of art from Sonoma Publishing in the background on their wall. So really, really big shout out to them. They've been fantastic to me.
All right, cool.
Villain Support rocks.
So does The Legend of Oz. Tom,
This
what
is
do
a beautiful campaign.
Tom always does good ones. Right, Tom?
There's like 3 hours left. It's like two and some change. Ends at 11:45 Eastern tonight, guys. So this is Legend of Oz. This is the start of our 15-year anniversary for the book. Ginger's Quest is the series. It focuses on Ginger, kind of Ginger's story throughout the series. We've been kind of giving you bits and pieces of it. This is kind of the beginning of her culmination of her story, revelation of past events and so on and so on. So Dorothy and Ozma and everything will still be part of the story too, but it's going to focus a lot on Ginger and the gnomes. We do this just like we do with all of our other books. You got a basic book, bunch of variants. If you like the fancy stuff, foils and metals and all of that. New series artist right there is Allison Rodriguez. Coffin Comics, people will know him from doing stuff like Lady Satanis. So we picked him up and he's doing the whole run for us this year. Gat Melvin is our previous series colorist. He's back doing the series. So it looks really great. We're a little behind on the pages because we had a guy locked in to do this and he completely ghosted me as we were trying to get into the time where he was supposed to start. And I was like, all right, fuck off. And I went and found somebody else, and that guy started up, and he's been doing great, and that's Allison, and he's doing a great job. So 5 stretch goals so far, trading cards and poker chips and fun stuff. We did crack the 200 backer mark, so we've got 2 Lands of Oz unlocked, which means there's 2 add-ons. So there's a holofoil Nia Rufino Glinda cover right there, so it'll be like a blue holofoil, and then we just unlocked the Mike DeBalfo Ruby holofoil, so those can be added on, and I've been watching people add them on today as we've been doing that. So and then here's our variants. There's your basic cover right there. Ginger on the Road. We've got Steve Ferris doing a cover for the first time right there, Gale in the Yellow Brick Road, so he did a great job. He did. Yeah, Rafina has been doing covers for Oz since the beginning. She's the only artistic element of this book besides, not even HD, not even the letterer. That changed one time. She's the only one that's done something on every book. So new Nia Rufino. We've got Ryan Kincaid. This is his first Oz cover for us. We have one of my new favorites, Larry Tuason, with Gale in the Twister. And Pedro. Oh, no, I forgot about this one. We did our Wolverine homage, X-Men homage by Eisenetto Adamar, Jack Pumpkinhead, and Princess Langwidere by Pedro Perez, who I love. He's got this great animated sort of old school art style that I really dig. So I always get really happy when we get to work with him. And then, like I said, there's specialty editions, there's foils, there's metals. We did do our first. You won't be able to see it real well because of all the lighting, but we'll give it the old college try here. We did our first jeweled cover.
Yeah, look at this.
You can kind of see some of the stuff going on there.
Oh, that is gorgeous, man.
Mm-hmm.
So there's little gems, all over the place on this.
Tom,
cover.
I'm gonna have to hit you up sometime about where you got that done, man.
Nope,
that's
absolutely not.
Probably Ready Comics.
I'm gonna ask so nicely. I'm gonna
But
ask so nicely.
So this was actually a test. So this is about 37 gems. The final one is going to have 50 on them because we wanted to get a test of it. So
that is gorgeous, man.
That's our first ever jeweled cover, and those will be printed to order. So if you're into that stuff, grab one ASAP.
Well, I'm glad you were here because I had saved the campaign, but I hadn't pledged yet, so I just fixed that. So,
Well, time is of the essence. We're talking 2 hours.
yeah,
maybe, you know?
I saw it when it launched. I'm like, yeah, this is definitely one I'm getting in on, and I was like, holy crap.
I feel like I need to sing like it's the final countdown, you know.
And we do have our omnibus. The omnibus is at the printer right now, guys. We finally have those files finalized. Holy shit, what a job that was. So the omnibus is on our way. TikTok is a standalone mini series. There's all the stuff we did with Aspen Comics when we were with them. So all kinds of stuff to catch up on and just try out different things and lots of different artists. And then, of course, we just have our Big Dog Ink universe stuff. So if you buy some Oz stuff and you want to get some Critter or whatever, try out some other series. We got the Critter series, Scheherazade, Kaiju Epic, the BD Index. That's our Who's Who book. Antoinette, Penny for Your Soul. So we do a lot of different things. So, you know, grab an Oz book and then grab something else. Try some other things because we do all kinds of stuff, all different genres, all the time. So yeah,
it's fun watching him scroll through some of this, especially with the older stuff. Because I'm like, I got that. Oh, I got that one too. Right? Because I got some of the Critter books. I have Scheherazade. I have a couple of Penny for Your Soul. So I even have a Dan Mendoza variant cover he had done for Penny for the Soul.
Mm-hmm.
I just want all omnibuses. That's it.
Well, speaking of omnibuses, I got that Evangeline long-awaited omnibus finally in the mail.
Oh,
It's a gorgeous book, actually.
Here's the omnibus right here. Except it's all
yeah.
it's all just proofs.
Proof, yeah. Gotcha.
But it's on the way. It's on the way.
All right, cool.
It is on the way.
What's it looking like? May?
So we're in February, probably April.
April?
Probably April. We should have them in April. And there'll be some cons in April, but I'll be working on them ASAP as soon as they come in. So yeah, I'm thinking April.
Are you doing Lexington or Louisville?
No.
Okay.
Not unless they want to invite me.
Gotcha.
In which case I can discuss that with them.
I think I'm going to do Allentown this year. If I can get seat space, I mean.
Phil Leon, the Electric Crayon.
Of course, I'm doing Lexington.
Most people know I've reduced my convention appearances unless they're inviting me. So, I pay for the ones I know I need to pay for. Like if I go to C2E2, they're never going to invite me, but it's like, okay, I'll go to C2E2. But, a lot of the local places around here invite me. I'm going to Oz again this year for the 13th straight year in New York. So, I talked to a lot of places. We were in Texas. Holy shit. Texas invited us down last year. And it wasn't just me. It was me and 6 other people from Big Dog Ink. They put us all down there at Big Texas Comic Con. So like, holy cow. So there's still conventions out there that treat comic book people and creators like they have value.
Right.
Which is kind of a rarity in today's world, where all they want to do is have some Power Rangers, sign some stuff,
Like my local con for the first year is, they're going to announce it next week, but I'll announce it here. Sneak peek. They're making me an actual guest this time, which is wild,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
here in Kentucky, I get invited as a guest to some of the the library shows and of course some of the comic shop events, a few stuff like that. And then, of course, AP invited me for the 40th anniversary show. And I took the youngest, and she actually outsold me at the event by like 20-something bucks. It was a wild trip. We had a fantastic time. Got to meet Ben in person, and Joe Ming, and Willow sold Joe Ming a coffee mug, the last one we had, because she sold all the others. And apparently...
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
This is a piece that was a gift from Joe Solis. This is Critter and his character that he does. And Ben did this a couple of years ago at Big Texas when Ben was down there. He had Ben draw this up, and it's his Catgirl character.
That's awesome.
And then so he gave that to me. So that's on my desk there.
100%.
That's absolutely awesome.
Yeah,
and
I got
Ben reached out to me earlier, like in January. He was like, "Hey, do you want to do a thing?" I was like, "Oh, okay. Tell me about the thing." So we might have an extra thing at some point.
Extra things are always good.
Yeah.
Real quick, I want to throw up Madcaps for
Ray. Yeah,
for Ray, because he was here a little bit ago. So he's launching. I think he said March-ish.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah,
you
I
can
think
sign
so.
up now. He doesn't have much here, but his link is in the show notes. So you go click on the link, sign up for a great
All right.
book. So go check it out. This is
So in regards to this, right? This is something I've noticed new with Kickstarter is that when you do the launch page, you can actually add so much more now as opposed to one image that it used to be.
yeah.
So I would encourage Ray to put more in here,
Yeah, we did the same, and he said he's I guess getting more artwork from the artist, so he's waiting.
Yeah. You may not have everything now, but when you do, definitely fill that up a little bit,
Exactly. All right, and I'm just gonna throw my own campaign up here. Got another 14 days. We're already funded. This is a catch-up campaign, so anyone who didn't have a chance to pick it up the first time, they get a second chance. So here it is. This Dreamweavers 1 through 2.
Mm-hmm.
This was a book that I did back in the early 90s with my buddy Matt Lunsford that I did La Blue Girl with. I did Tenchi Muyu. I did a few other things with him. And I remastered it, recolored it, got new covers. We got one here by Art Voyager. We have Reggie Vincent, who I met on DeviantArt. Pablo Diaz, awesome cover. This is one of the characters from the book, Acrobat.
Mhm.
And the story is about 4 kids. Whenever they go to sleep, they wake up as their role-playing game characters, and these 4 very strange anthropomorphic characters that are their role-playing game characters, and they're actually interdimensional beings. So you have these kids taking over these bodies of these people that for like, and these people are just confused, like why are we in this dimension? What's going on?
Mhm.
But they're hunting, the kids are hunting down demons. The Earth is being invaded. Kids are hunting it down, and these other interdimensional beings are also helping them out in that process, because that's what they do, right? And we have covered by Lena Dye, Douglas Preciado Menzino, who's a guy we met on DA, Ayana, and Javier Arciniaga. And this guy is funny because I met him on Facebook. He completed this cover, sent it to me, everything was fine, and disappeared. I can't find
Bud, where are you?
Oh wow.
like he disappeared. He
Like,
disappeared.
did you even get to pay him, or is he just like, here you go, and then ghost?
Everything was completed. I paid him, he delivered, and then I went to contact him again. I said, maybe I'm gonna do another cover. Poof, gone.
Gone.
Huh.
But I was like, oh,
It's
okay.
like he's like walking off in the sense like, my job is done here.
Something like that. It was crazy. And then here's some of the interior pages. Like I said, been recolored. Well, originally they were black and white, so they're obviously in color now. And I relettered the entire thing, so it came out really nice. And I mean, it's a 6-issue limited series. This is the 2nd issue. The 3rd issue is already completed, and Matt Lunsford's coming back to do the 4th issue and the 5th issue. So it's really cool. So we're going to complete the series. Something we started, when we were in our late teens. We're going to complete as very, very mature adults.
57 years ago.
Yeah,
It's been 30 years, hasn't it? Was it like 94? Like 94,
92.
something like that? 92?
92.
Man.
Yeah,
I mean, you got the work and stuff, and it's yours, so why not? You know what I mean?
exactly. And then something I'm excited about, and this is part of Tom's campaign as well, is if you support my campaign, right, you will get this trading card right here. This was the first stretch goal. This has already been met. Everyone who gets a physical reward is going to get this card. But if you also go to Tom's campaign, right, you will be getting his card as well, his Gale card. And if you support the other campaigns that go along with it, Vicky Sticks is currently running as JD Rosario's. When you put the 9 cards together, there's going to be a 9-card set. They're going to be released throughout the year. You put them together, and you'll be able to get a unique image that goes on the back when they're all combined. So that's running now. Start collecting them, and they're going to be unique to these campaigns. We've all agreed to allow the campaigns to go into late pledges.
Late pledges.
Right. So if you late pledge any of these campaigns, you can still get these trading cards. Okay. So you late pledge it, we'll send you. We're gonna throw in that trading card for you if you decide to order it later on in the year. So that's something I think that's really cool. That's something we're trying to do to cross promote each other. So go out there and go buy a book, guys. There you go. All right. So yeah. Oh yeah, here's a simple one. Who's other than Shikari? Because I know Shikari is in the chat, which is hilarious. Who's a cover artist you guys want to work with?
That we haven't worked with yet?
Fantasy or realistically?
Dude, give me one of each.
Fantasy is J. Scott Campbell for me. I think everyone knows that answer is going to come out of my mouth. You know what I mean? Realistically, yeah, I mean that really depends on the budget at the time, but fuck, I mean there's probably half a dozen names I could go over. You know, some guys we've already had a chance to work with, like Mike. You know, like Keith Garvey. You know, man, you know what I'm going to say, because he's close to me. And I hate to put him on the spot, but he is, a friend of mine. He lives in the city. He's done a lot of work for Marvel. I've been inching and begging, and I'm thinking I might soon be able to get a yes out of him, and that's Nick Bradshaw. That would be a big deal. He's known for his work for Wolverine and the X-Men and Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's done lots of work with Dynamite and, Danger Girl stuff. But he lives here locally in the city. I see him, roughly 4 or 5 times a year. And he did say he might be down for a cover, but he said, but if I had to pick, he said, I'd rather do Savage Sin. He just seems to like Savage Sin. But either way, that'd be cool,
Mm-hmm. That'd be cool. Yeah, he probably just likes the sword and sorcery aspect of it.
Yeah, he likes monsters, kaiju stuff, fantasy stuff. You know what I mean? Like he's done like covers for Marvel, like where they do like Fantastic Four versus Godzilla sort of stuff. So
yeah, he's probably done enough superhero stuff for Marvel to fill his lifetime.
He likes to pick projects he's interested in. So I was surprised he said Savage Sin. I get asked, but and he's local to us in the convention committee, that's bringing me in, and they seem to be more interested in Savage Sin than Niobe, which is really weird. But okay,
All right, cool. Sam.
Jay Anacleto.
Okay.
Right off the bat, Jay Anacleto. And I think the thing that drives me on that is the original releases, the covers that were done for Aria under Avalon Studios through Image. I think that definitely. Beyond that, as far as covers go, honestly, an artist I'd love to work with, although I'm afraid I'll never get the opportunity to, and not just for covers, but I'd love to do something with them for this one particular project that's on the back burner. But I would absolutely just freaking fawn over the opportunity to work with Larry Hama.
Oh, gotcha. But Larry's a writer though.
No, he draws some too.
He does? Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, not a lot, but yeah.
Because I remember of his editorial and writing.
No, yeah, but he draws some too.
Yes.
It's not his principal thing, but I would love to just have some of his doodles.
Gotcha.
Specifically for the kids superhero thing. So I'd like some of those little simple line art things.
Gotcha. Shikari, yes, we know Steven. I'm destroying his name. Steven okay. Yes, we know him. He's incredible. But again, one of these guys.
Give me an idea.
Yeah. Tom.
So the dreams are Art Adams and Todd McFarlane.
those are great dreams.
Those are the dreams.
Gotcha.
I feel like one of them is attainable and one of them is not remote.
Hey, bud, I'm waiting for your call, bud.
But those are the dreams. There's other guys that are on the bucket list. I'd love to work with Brett Booth. Man, I don't know. There's a lot of those like higher level guys that I'd love to work with. But I will say this. I have been actively reaching out to higher level guys, and I have gotten an amazing response from higher level guys. 2 of them have tentatively signed on to do covers this year. I will not say who they are because I'm not going to jinx any of this until I have art in my pocket. But one of them is one of the biggest indie guys happening in the industry. Monumental get. I love this guy. So if that comes through, I'll be happy for the year. The other one is more sketchy, only because he is deep in the Marvel world. So he is always like, there's another book, there's another book, there's another book, there's another book. But he did say, like, bug me in March, and I think I should have time to do something. So I'm like, fuck. So there'll be two really big names that we'll be able to put on some BDI books this year if all goes well. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now,
What
so
about you, JD?
What's funny is mine crosses over with Tom's with Arthur Adams. But if I had here's a name that if I had the opportunity to get a sexy girl cover out of, it would be Mark Beecham.
Yeah,
Mark Beecham, because I loved his. I don't know if anybody remembers the Samuel covers that he did over
course.
at Continuity Comics. I mean, those are like, he was doing that stuff long before anybody else, and it was just like, what the hell is that? And it's just like, yes, So I've always enjoyed Mark Beecham's work. And there's a couple guys I'm drawing blanks on. There's a couple European artists. I have their names written down somewhere, but.
There's always the endless list. You guys got guys like Terry Dodson, Bill Sienkiewicz would be amazing. Like there's legitimate legends. Here's the thing: there are legitimate legends in this industry that are not regularly working. So don't be afraid to just reach out, whether you're at a con or whatever. Just reach out and be like, "Look, man, what's your schedule? We can look 6 months out next year. Like this is what I do. Show them what you do." And you never know what might hit.
Well, look, I thought John Stinsman was going to turn me down when I bugged him out of nowhere on Facebook. Like, you're the Evangeline guy. Do you still draw in comics? I thought the same thing would happen when I pursued Randy Green from Witchblade fame.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? None of these guys were really doing comics, but they were doing commissions and other work. And they loved the chance to come back and do a little bit of comic book work. So yeah, I'm on board with what Tom's saying. Reach out to them.
I mean, what's funny is I would love to get a piece out of Jeff Isherwood, right?
Yeah, he's going to be at my convention coming up.
Yeah, they're like he would be one of those types of artists, like an old school style.
He's a fellow Canadian.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. So yeah, he's one. Yeah, man. I mean, the list is endless. If I could get Mike Mignola, that would be
Yeah.
Start with the next level down and go get Kyle Hotz, and then you can be like, "Hey, I got Kyle Hotz," and he'll be like, "Oh, okay, I can do better than that."
Yeah, that would probably be it, right?
You could just start the war,
Or maybe I could get Kelly Jones. Kelly Jones would definitely be another one. That would definitely be cool. All right.
I tell you, I got a cover from Fernando Ruiz once, and I tell you, I still have a few of those books set aside that are just like for me and the kids, because it's like my first cover ever from Fernando Ruiz, and I'm like, hell yeah, man. Archie fame and everything else. This dude he's such a cool dude too. And the first time I actually met him in person, I swear I went from me being me and my background and everything, and I get introduced to Fernando Ruiz, and my voice goes up like 5 octaves, and I sound like a 9-year-old prepubescent boy. And I was just like, "Holy crap, it's Fernando Ruiz!"
Oh, it's hard not to fanboy the fuck out for me, dude.
I did.
Right?
I spazzed like crazy.
Even when I first met Tom, I'm fanboying out. You Aspen Comics. I bought your books in the shop. I mean, Tom must remember this. I mean, yeah, it's hard, man.
Yeah. But Tom is above all that. He's a superstar.
Tom's a pro.
Exactly.
I'm just a fan who makes comics.
Yeah,
That's the difference.
All right, everybody. I for the last question tonight, I got one for you guys. What's a piece of advice you'd give anybody who's starting in this business? If they were like brand new, what's a good piece of advice you'd give them?
Are you talking motivational advice or practical advice? Because there's a difference.
Take your pick.
All right. Well, practical advice. Make sure you have the money. Especially if you don't draw, right? This is an expensive thing to get involved in. And some people jump in this without knowing the price tag, right? For me, bare minimum, $6 to $7 grand to make a comic book. And it's unlikely, especially your first time out, that you might even recoup that cost. So don't sell your house and have your wife leave you over the price of making a comic book. Make sure you're good to go financially, or have a solid plan. Like even with Kickstarter can help pay for some of this, but make sure you're putting your funding goal where you need it to be, that it's attainable, that it's actually going to cover the work of the progress of your work. Just make sure that you do a little bit of research into the cost of making these comic books, because they're not cheap.
Mhm. Very true. Very true.
Tom,
Sam.
you want to go next?
I basically, when we get vague questions, I give vague answers. So here's the vague answer, but it's a valuable one, and it's one that I tend to use like at Comic Cons when people ask like, hey, what do you suggest? And it's don't be a dick, right?
Yeah.
Like that's it's one of the most important things that people really have to learn, not just in comics, just in your general life. Like just don't be a dick. But when you're in the comic book world, everything's a team, right? You have the writer, you have the artist, the inker, the colorist, the letter. Like it's a chain of people, and you're part of this ecosystem of creative people. So if you're the one out of 5 people that's the dick, you're not going to have a job very long, because they're just going to all be like, we don't need that part of this chain. We can get a different piece of the chain. And that goes to my sort of football analogy, right? Is there's 32 teams. There's 32 starting quarterbacks. You want to be one of those people. Once you make it, there's 100 people behind you that are ready to take your job. And so if you're a dick, or if you don't come through on your deadlines, or whatever the problem is, the day you're fired, someone will just take the spot. Like,
and Tom told a story about that guy who didn't produce, and he was easily replaced.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But Tom, I have to say though, it's fucked up. Jay's not even here, and you're talking about him like that.
I mean, you know, the reason he's not here.
Yeah. Damn.
What? Okay, he'll survive. He'll be back next week.
So
he's a big boy. If you've ever seen him in real life, you'd realize he's a big boy. But anyway, yeah.
I have a more specific thing, because we've gotten some good advice so far. But for creators who are crowdfunding, the first thing I tell any new creator is that you want to make sure you have a brand new, unique email that you use just for your crowdfunding accounts, because you're going to get a ton of marketing spam. You're going to get a ton of...
Where were you 10 years ago with that, Sam? Jesus Christ.
I've only been doing it 9 years. So, but yeah, you see, that's one of the little things that, and it's one of the only things that I did not find in Madeline Holly Rawson's book, Kickstarter for the New Creator. The second piece of advice is read Madeline Holly Rawson's book, Kickstarter for the New Creator. I don't get a dime from recommending that. Anytime anyone asks me that, it's one of the first things I always tell them. Whether you are brand new or been doing it, I keep it right next to my desk here, and I will literally go through and check it. And I've done 30-something campaigns across 5 platforms, but I go through and I check this to make sure that I'm hitting the points I want to make sure I'm hitting. It is a business. You need to treat it as such. But those 2 pieces of advice are the first ones I'm going to bring to you. And then the last thing I'm going to say is you have to have a plan all the way through the campaign development, from pre-launch, launch, campaign time, fulfillment, and then very importantly, your post-campaign plan where you're going to bring your book to market. Make that book work for you. Make it make you some money so that you can use that for your future campaigns, or turn it into a true business and build your library and get things out. No one else is going to do it for you. So just put your nose to the grindstone and grind, baby, grind.
All right, cool. Everybody pretty much covered the business aspect of it, so I'll go into a little bit of story. So what I would advise as a writer is, if you are the writer, is take your time, develop your story, get as much input as you can in your first project. Because here's the problem with first projects, and you can ask just about anybody, right? Your first project is probably going to suck. Okay?
So add as many boobs as you can.
Right.
This is the way.
Yes. But seriously.
No lie detected.
Right. It's like, if it's your first project, it's probably not going to be that good. Be prepared to do that project, write that project, create that project, and maybe not even release it. Okay, because it's probably not going to be that good. It might not be ready for prime time. You might have to go through a process where it'll take you a couple years to get to the point where you're good enough to go go on prime time, to literally release it. Okay, I started very young, so I was very fortunate. So I started when I was 17, 18 years old. I mean, I started writing when I was 8, but 17, 18 years old was when I started gathering my team of artists. There's Daphne, Matt Lunsford, Zach Lenningson, a bunch of other people. And they were going to School of Art and Design here in New York. They were 15, 16 years old. I was 17, 18. And we started working together. We didn't release our first book till we were like 20. Okay. So I have.
Yeah, but is that because you were lazy or because you were world building that entire time?
No, we were drawing pages.
Yeah. Okay.
I was writing, they were drawing. Literally, I have in my closet maybe about 100 pages that will never see print.
Oh, okay.
Back in those days, because I felt we weren't ready. Okay. And then eventually it just came to a head and said, we got to do something. We printed the first book, and then we printed the second book, and then we printed the third book, and then we just kept going. Right. But we didn't really get good enough until it was at least 3 or 4 years later. You understand? But not everybody has that luxury, and not everybody's that patient either. You understand? So sometimes I would tell you, take the time to develop your work, right? Especially if you're a writer, take your time to develop your work. I was in this very special situation where here in New York City, I teamed up with a bunch of people. They were young artists. You know, there was no money exchange. They were just all my partners, right? Like Matt Lunsford is still my 50-50 partner on Dreamweavers. Daphne is my 50-50 partner on Tall Tales, right? So that's a very special situation. If you're young, I say go find another young artist who's in your area and work with them. You know, try to develop together as a team, and you'll find. Listen, and it worked great for me. Matt is the one that got me the job on La Blue Girl. Okay, so that relationship that I developed over all those years helped me get professional work, and then that us as a team got us a job on Tenchi Muyu. Right. And we developed and kept growing together over those years, you know, and then after that, we just said, screw it, let's go get jobs. But that had more to do with the fact I just don't like pitching. I really hate it. So,
yeah, I don't either. That's why I didn't have another job with anybody until Dynamite. And that was like 10 years in, you know, so I was like, yeah, but no, you're right. Like for Critter, for example, Critter was in development for a couple of years while I figured out what the fuck I was doing. Like, how do I write a script? What does this mean? What is the story? How does it, you know, what is this script? How does it go into the series and whatever? It took a long time. And then when I finally thought that I had a finished script for like the 0 issue, I was on a plane and I had 6 hours to be on the plane, and I had it on I had it on my iPad or something. And I was reading it on the plane, and I was like, this is terrible. And I literally, I had one of those Bluetooth keyboards for my iPad, right? And so I rewrote the entire script in 6 hours over the course of the plane trip. And what that new script is what was put into the 0 issue for when I released it. So even when I thought I was done, I wasn't done, and I reset the whole thing. So yeah.
Man, I didn't do any of those things. I wrote a script pretty, you know. I used a Witchblade script as my template, and I wrote my own script based off of that template, and literally printed it out and walked around with it in a binder at a convention, hitting up local artists to make that first Niobe.
I had a completely different experience. I outlined the totality of the 47 Furious Tales series, broke down the individual outlines per issue, make sure I did my fact checking, my historical reference, and then I sat down and wrote the script for issue 1. Put it in front of my editor, and she said, this does not work. And so we revised. And then for Reign of Ages, knew it was originally going to be 6 issues for the story arc, but we made some changes and we got it to 5 issues for that first story arc. And pretty much the same thing, outlines for that whole story arc, outlines for the individual issue, develop the script, put it in front of the editor, try not to get, too butthurt about changes. Here's the thing too, guys, as a writer, learn to accept constructive criticism.
No.
If you cannot accept,
No.
if you cannot accept constructive criticism, you're just going to be hurting yourself. Now, if you're a hardcore mental masochist, you're in the right business. But definitely learn to take constructive criticism. And then for Tibby, I was sleep deprived and hallucinated to a point because I've been up for like 4 days, and wrote a couple of notes on a board. Finally passed out. Woke up the next day, called my dad, said I had the wildest thought, and he's like, "Write that damn thing down, son." So rest in peace, Dad. I miss you. But yeah, it was his favorite comic issue that came out. It's the one he actually read all the way through. So
nice.
And he wasn't a comic guy, but yeah, I found out, this is a little behind the scenes stuff. My father passed in August, and we went down because we had to do the funeral and everything. And at the final viewing ceremony and everything, I found out that my dad had been loaning out copies of the comics to people at work. And so I had 50, 60 people who were coming up to me talking about the comics I'd put out while we're at my dad's funeral, which was freaking weird, but really touching that he thought enough to do that. So there's one thing about it, is that I think that we all get to look forward to our work surviving us.
Yeah, no, that's really cool, man. It's funny, like my father, who wasn't a big reader, and he certainly didn't read comic books, read my comics. My mother would say that I would bring them over and I would drop them off mostly for her because she would read. But she said my dad loved my comic books. And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah. And I was just like, oh, okay. And I was like, all right, that's really cool. Yeah, but one of the things I would suggest to any writer is, if you write a story, take it similar to what I think might have happened at times. You set it to the side for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I've set stories to the side for up to 6 months. Come back and be like, ooh, and then just the red pen comes out, and it's just you just go over. You're like,
yeah,
and yeah, and the constructive criticism. I've worked with editors, and when you're in a space where you're like, there's two types of editors, right? There's the type of editor you pay to edit your stuff, and there's the type of editor that's paying you. Okay, the type of editor that I work with was paying me, so I had to listen. Right, I had no choice. Like, there's no choices given. I was being paid. This was my boss. I had to listen. So you got to eat that shit sandwich when it comes to you. You got to eat it, right? You got to accept it. You got to move on. It was like, all right.
No.
Well, you just got no job. No.
Don't you know who I am? Why are you giving me notes?
Sure. But so it's when you get into that position, and here's the thing, if you ever get it, like I got to a point where I had to do that grind. You heard about the monthly grind. I did that for about 2 years. You had to constantly produce scripts. And I have to be honest with you, it was a huge learning experience, because you get into it and you're just like constantly grinding. And, it helped me really develop as a writer, just doing that type of work, just really grinding it out. And it makes me, it really ups my respect of the guys who do 3-4 books a month, yeah. Right? You see them, you're like, and look, and sometimes they're not the greatest books in the world, but a lot of those books don't have to be. Not all of them are going to be Alan Moore, not all of them are going to be Neil Gaiman or Warren Ellis or whatever, right?
Right.
But, you need your C's and your B's. They all have to be in there, right? Somebody has to fill that role. And so, and that's usually those guys, right? Whoever those guys might be. But yeah, but sometimes you got to be in there. But yeah, just work. And if you can, set it to the side, come back to it a couple of weeks, couple of months later, and then you can take another look at it. Yeah. It'll definitely help you improve your work. Gentlemen, this has been fun. Thank you so much for showing up. Larry, brother, you're always welcome. Sam, same with you. Tom, you know, Tom's always here.
Tom's like furniture of the show.
Tom's always here. He just
Hello,
shows up.
dude.
I gotta tell you guys, it's good to see all of you again. I disappeared last year for reasons, but it's good to be back at it, making comics and RPGs and everything else I've got going on in the background. So I'll tell you, I would not have been as successful were it not for the input I've gotten from you guys and other folks who have been doing this a lot longer than I have. And I have found that, contrary to what other people might say about each other, I think the indie comics arena is filled with a lot of people who do offer some good, valuable advice. The key thing is to listen, figure out what's actually genuinely helpful for you. And then, of course, like anything that you're doing on your own, implement what you do.
And to add to that is also pick the things that work for you, because not everything's going to work for everybody.
Exactly.
Right. So there's certain things that will work for you that's not going to work for me, or vice versa, or work for your title, because, I'm doing good girl art for our Dreamweavers, not going to work on Oswald.
Right.
So it just depends where you're at. So, gentlemen, thank you so much. Sam, where can we find you and your work, sir?
All right. Of course, you can get our work on Drive Through Comics, Drive Through RPG. You'll find us on Kickstarter with 2 separate accounts, one under WS Quinton, where we do our comics and art prints and such, and other as Sinopa Publishing, where we do our role-playing games. And then for our social media, you can find us on Twitter /X, Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Kick, and the other one under Sinopa Publishing.
All right, cool. See, that's why everybody gets Linktree. But Tom, where can they find you and your work, sir?
BigDogInc.com. We're on the Facebook primarily. If you guys do Facebook, that's primarily where we do stuff. We have a Patreon, of course, where we kind of show you how the batter's made in the background. So if you like to watch the stuff sort of come to life, from designs to lines to pencils to logos to the whole thing, that's what we do on Patreon. And we're on Instagram and all that kind of stuff too. You'll just look for me or Big Dog Inc. and you'll find us.
Cool. Mr. Larry.
Yeah, it's Niobe Comic pretty much on all the socials, right? YouTube is our primary home, and Facebook, like Tom said. I'm a Facebook guy. Been a Facebook guy for 2007. Art Victim. What's going on, bro? Also, though, I've expanded into TikTok. I've been putting out more and more TikToks lately. I'm not dancing around or anything, but I'm putting out TikToks. So go on TikTok and follow me there. Instagram's another place. Like, I've been uploading some of my YouTube videos that I would normally do just on YouTube. They're going up on TikTok and Instagram now. They're not overly lengthy, right? And then I will plug in an advertisement for my book somewhere in the middle of that video, And I find that those probably get more attention than live streams do. So it's just, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I disappeared. I'm wigging out. But yeah. And back to Kickstarter. We just got a backer as we've been talking. Someone bought one of the Lock Niobe original sketch cards. So thank you very much. That actually gives us a nice little boost to 72.36 Canadian duck bucks, which is about a $1.39 US, Tom. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yep. It's the Eagle bucks.
Nice.
I actually just checked, and we actually had one book bought on drive-through in the last 2 hours. So whoever was that, thank you very much. We appreciate you. We will put that money to good use. And as with everything on drive-through, the royalties have already been sent out to their respective contributors. So our artists and letterer and editor already got paid for that too. So we did a lot of good with just one purchase.
All right. Very nice. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those different places. YouTube, most Sundays. Yes. And on Kickstarter. So currently with Dreamweavers, next Monday with the Oswald Chronicles, but we will definitely be back. And please, everyone, just remember, check out the show notes. In the show notes are links to all of these creators and their projects. Please click on those links, buy these books. All these creators are heavily vested and do great work. They're passionate about their projects. They love their books. So please click on those links, buy those books, and just remember, everyone, read more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.